Very seldom in one's lifetime will you have an opportunity, if you're in this position, to introduce somebody who doesn't need an introduction. However, I would like to say 3 words before I turn the microphone over to Ramush Haradinaj. It is a great honor for A.U.K. to welcome him back. 3 things can be said about this man. He is a great warrior who emerged from the mists of Dukajini to perform exploits on the battlefield that have become legendary. You will seldom in your lifetime meet somebody with these characteristics. Secondly, as you know, Mr. Haradinaj is one of the most prominent and young politicians on the political scene here in Kosovo. He has already established a superb track record as Prime Minister. And the third most important characteristic I would add of Mr. Haradinaj is that he is an A.U.K. person. He did a master's degree here at A.U.K. We're very proud to welcome him back. Ramush Haradinaj.
Thank you very much for your introducing me, Sean. I know of you for many years, and I know of you from the days that all of us we was aspiring to be free. Thank you very much. I come here today to present my views on Kosovo, our challenges, and I'm honored to speak to you, dear students, professors, as not long time ago I was one of you. So my presentation is not probably traditional or what you are used to hear often. I have selected my thoughts in this way. It's important for Kosovo to realize what we face, where we are today. In fact, we all know and we are happy that Kosovo is independent, that we are recognized by a number of states, 98, that we are a member of different organizations, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, EBRD, and we continue fortifying our position in international community. We as well know that Kosovo is aspiring to become a member of the EU, member of NATO, and strongly its position in the region. But what Kosovo is in real? It's an emergency society, or society is in crisis. Why we say that? We have established what is a state in its own, a constitution that is generous, legislation that norms or regulates a lot, but what we miss is delivery. What we miss is management that answers the needs of society, of the citizens, and as well answers the aim for strategic development and for an economic growth. So that's why I call it governance as management. I have a lot to say why governance, it's not just polishing language on strategic goals, policies, ideological talks. Governance, it comes in real life to be managing or delivering for people. So Kosovo has everything what it needs to start delivering. And the list of issues to be delivered towards people, it's long. But I go on those that I believe are important. And I start by water, clean water, running water. We don't have in our houses or apartments today still. there are reduction of that. I talk about energy, electricity, the situation that we have. I immediately go to garbage, that it's everywhere. There is no place in our country we can go and not see garbage. You can go like this with the traffic, with the disabled people access or access for disabled people. We can talk on many issues, on health, on education, so the list is long. A lot of this is not anymore discovering the boiled water. We know how to resolve this. What we have to do is to bring the governance from what it stays today. And today it's pleasing, let's say, categories of people or individuals, and not thinking on majority and everything that we have to face, and not starting to deliver. A difference that I offer to our citizens, or something that I represent, is governance as management. Even when I was a student here, I fight to choose this as my thesis. Why is management? Because if we shorten the time or the distance or the road between identifying a priority or an issue, planning, decision making, delivery, that's how we can help ourselves today in our life. That's what government can do at best. The people that hesitate to take decisions, those that are slow on delivery, they are not just enemies of themselves, but those people are enemies of all of us. So I myself, I do everything I can in my day-to-day work, in what it's my prior task now, building an organization of a party, to create a logic that governance, its management, and its delivery. And it has to start in day one, and it has to be in continuity at day one. And it shouldn't exist nothing that blocks a government on delivering on very practical things for its citizens. So this is my presentation to you. The reason why I bring it as precise to you is as I know that A.U.K students, graduates, and you're becoming in your 10th anniversary, in our 10th anniversary. You're very important as assets of our society. You represent maybe 10% of our expertise of our society, the one that has opened doors abroad as well, not just in Kosovo. So I would invite everybody of you and this institution to keep fighting hard for a logic that is delivering, and to be all together colleagues on delivering in our society. Thank you. This is my presentation. I'm happy to answer more. Thank you very much.
As Mr. Haradinaj said, he will be happy to take questions from the audience. So if anybody has one, the floor is now open. Sir, it's your question.
Yeah. My name is Adesanya Purti. I'm a second-year student here. And after you came from Hague, we have heard you saying many times that you're ready to take responsibilities and to govern the country. And at the same time, we've seen that your party has supported this government that is now. So what would you specifically do differently from this corrupt government that is today in place?
Thank you. My analysis that I always presented to public, to every citizen, was that the situation is not good, that the parameters are not good. We have to stand for a change, but not just classical, I mean, just by definition, that we here in politics a change, but we have to stop deteriorating our society, begin to improve. For this, I even offered a possibility of working together with the existing ruling party, PDK, but then taking the responsibilities for government, that it didn't happen. Next is something that is good to explain and understand your question why it comes forward. we have issues of national interest. As you know, our situation in northern municipalities is not settled. We need to integrate the north, and we need as well to normalize relations with the neighbor. It's in our interest, so we are part of this. When there is issues of national interest, we don't block ourselves because of a bad government. This is the difference. So we don't support the government, or we don't make, we don't continue their life in governance. What we do is we have ourselves, the society, we have our generations plus those that comes after us, or resolve in anything of national matter. So this is the position that we keep. It's not simple. Often we are misunderstood by other parties or by citizens. But we have to take this with us, or we have to accept this and to go through.
Let me take advantage of my position as moderator to ask Mr. Haradinaj a question. This is a very important day for Kosovo, for Serbia, and for Lady Ashton in Brussels. I have a two-part question for Mr. Haradinaj. First is, what are your expectations for the meeting, the ninth round of dialogue in Brussels today? And the second part, and I'll repeat the first, since if you need. Second part is, if we assume there is an agreement, how difficult do you expect it will be to implement that agreement?
Dialogue, it's, for us, it's not a good history with our neighbor. Everybody knows that. And Serbia, out of what was the 99 and pre, in its own, I would say, way, it did block Kosovo. It tried to block, actually. Mainly by using Serb community in Kosovo, and by, in a way, undermining their well-being. What we did is, in a very careful way, together with the international committee, we tried to integrate, and we worked, actually, for integrating Kosovar Serbs. And progress is made, especially central Kosovo. Now we are left with Serbs in north. Serbs in north keep the partition and keep mainly same logic that existed elsewhere, actually. So in our efforts to integrate North Serbs, and in our efforts to improve or to advance towards EU and NATO integration, the dialogue with Serbia is seen as well as the possibility to go next, not being as we are today, not staying as we are today. So we engaged in this with full responsibility, as well as party actually, and myself and a colleague who's taking part today in the meeting, Mr. Sharla, with Prime Minister Tachin, with government people. I think an agreement will happen. If today or tomorrow, but I think an agreement would be achieved. Nothing will be resolved, or not everything will be resolved with the agreement. Challenges will be there. Implementing, as I was speaking on delivering, implementing will be a challenge in itself. But we keep, or we are optimistic that this is a way to improve what is it, situation in North, and what is it relation between us and Serbia, and in the framework of EU integrations. So we are optimistic. We know it's not black and white, and we know it's not everything in a decision, but in agreement, but we hope to go forward with that.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Haradinaj, for your presentation. And I have a question about the government's management. We know that you are an opposition party, but lately you have been supporting Tachin's government by votings and everything. Is there any specific case when you offered a platform to Mr. Tachin that this is the way how you should do the things? We have the constitution, we are independent, but you're not doing things right. Is there any case when you said to Mr. Toci and to the government that this is the way how you should do things?
Pre-discussing a possible coalition with his party, he presented to him my analysis about the situation in the country, my findings actually, and not just in the country but related to our country, to our society. And those was, let's call it worse than I have written in this presentation, and as well as solution. So this is one part. Next is, often, please, when you follow every day's life of our society and institutions, try to judge what's happening. Let's say when there is a voting on anything in Parliament, leaving the Parliament, that's a solution. And some parties do. There's parties who stay. That's ourselves. Why they are doing that so? Because if we start to leave the Parliament for everything that we don't like in the session or on the debate, it's a problem. Imagine next time other parties are ruling parties and opposition leaves the Parliament. We have the situation in Albania, remember probably what's happened. So there is a lot to clear. But do we support Tocci's government? In fact, we don't support the Tocci's government at all. In fact, we stand properly, and our analysis is same as probably others do. What we do is we don't want to deteriorate neither law and order, stability in the country, and as I written there is a way to go out of this. This is free and fair elections. So we will survive our system and our political life and institutions till to regular elections. We believe in interventions that are not well monitored or under control, democracy control. They could create us more damages than a very cautious way to elections. This is what we do. To give you an example, if we would somehow find a way to bring down Tocci's government, as some people call it regime, Tocci's regime. I heard this in a couple of places. If you would bring it down while the talks was going on, that would probably give a good example how we can delay ourselves. Because the EU might still keep an open door for Serbia, but ourselves will be not there anymore. Because the interruption of the system and all, that would probably delays us. So this is why we know we are near to elections. Our aim is to go stable to elections. This is the difference. That's why we are like this. It's not because we different in analysis of other opposition parties. It's because we feel responsible for our lives and for our citizens and for our economy. Bad news, bad articles, troubles in our country, it wouldn't help us a lot.
Hello, my name is Ramush Haradinaj, senior in A.U.K. First of all, I would like to thank you for your presentation. And my question is, if you sir, Mr. Ramush Haradinaj, will come to a place to govern the Kosovo as a state, what will be the certain policies on economical aspects? And we have seen that for 13 years, Kosovo is struggling on the economy, and we have been the witness of selling our state assets, PTK and KEK, and they are being sold for cheap prices. And what will be if your party will be certain policies to govern these assets or the other ones that that being left, like Trepcha and other things, and will you be selling these assets for cheap prices like this government, or trying to govern them as you mentioned in your presentation?
I disagree with the debate on privatization with many people in our society. Nobody comes to buy something to you for a biggest price that might be market price or they believe. You can keep it always in offer, but you wouldn't receive more money that market says. This is one rule that everybody knows. What's the difference that I plan to have in our societies? We want to have a credible offer of whom we are, what we possess. An offer that an offer that is built not just based on assets, I mean natural resources, on people, on every other advantage that we might have. An offer that has no corrupted bureaucracy, an offer that has no courts that have files for decades now there. A society that is a running and functioning society, based on rule of law, based on what is agreed, and based on business ruling or atmosphere that it's advanced. So till we don't have an offer, even those that they come and buy to us, they might not be so happy. Even though they think they are buying for cheap, they might not be so happy, or they might not speak nicely about us when they go abroad. So offer, quality of offer. Quality of offer is very basic, plus it's precise for each sector. We were speaking, you mentioned the trade, so the mines, the lignite, the agriculture, the food processing is here, and more. So till you don't have an offer that is standing offer, that it's real, that it's transparent, that it's known, that you don't need to know many people to resolve your case, a law case. So that's the difference. I think it's much more to do basic than just to say it's cheap or the price or this. I was surprised with the price for the distribution of gas, but I'm not so much surprised with the price of telephony, the latest bid. And why I tell you this? Telephony is not going up as a product, and the price in the market is not going up. It will go down and down. You have a case with Serbia. President Tadic stated in public in election year that he will not sell it less than 1.4. He was given 1.2. He didn't sell it. Year after, this government is given only 800. So one-third, just for a year price and down. It's nearly the same in our situation. I understand the political debate, I understand the electoral year, I understand the differences. But if you ask an economist of each party that are for or against, or they dispute the price, or the proceedings, for the proceedings I have something to say. So they would probably tell you same, that look, it's not so bad. The proceedings, we mainly confuse our evaluation for a government and for a minister with everything else. We have to probably be able to divide. If something good happens, keep it. The fact that telephony sells as itself, the shares, I think it's not so bad news for Kosovo. The price we can discuss, but I don't know precisely if that's bad. I believe it's there. Our estimates was around. Then you have potentially expertise coming from good market, and that's it. So what to do more?
I'm Ramush Haradinaj, a second-year student. Mr. Haradinaj, thank you for your speech. My question would be, what is your opinion regarding the rule of law nowadays in Kosovo, and what would your government do for change when it comes to this case?
I will start by something different. I experienced being in government for only 100 days, and I was still unmixed here, UN. But the head of the government, Prime Minister, because we are a young system, because we are building the let's say, social state governance system, we are still in early stage, this is the foundation. Every action, every minute of his day would count on, or immediately on the quality of system. And that goes by everybody. If the top goes wrong for 1%, the second level would be 10. I shouldn't talk for the next, for the others. So it's very important to be precise, to be disciplined, to be in job references, and to set. If we bring the best contribution, or they say the key is, if we just bring everybody, it's not even needed to change everybody in administration or elsewhere in decision-making positions. It's just to bring them in job references and insisting. Some people will leave. because when they see that they can be there just because of their job and what job references are, some that are used to be there for other reasons, they will leave. Those that would accept to stay, they would have a side to take. So anybody else could join them. The difference is today, why the rule of law is as well abstract. It's not just what a police guy does, what the prosecutor does, what somebody else does. Rule of law, is, when I say abstract, it's general. It's how we behave, everybody of us, starting from the top. So improving the rule of law in Kosovo, it's easy because Kosovars, they really likes it and deserves it. And a society that it lacks quality of instruments, still it's keeping correct rule of law. So the level of crime, the level of what's happening in our society is not so big compared to quality of our instruments that we possess or mechanisms that serve rule of law. So my aim is to start from the first job, references, and everybody inside the rule of law structures, same, job references. Who serves performance on career, a roadmap how you can become better, but as well sanctions has to exist. In every administration, in every society, sanction is an instrument. People that don't serve their job references, people that don't serve what they are paid for, they have signed a contract for, sanctions should be there. When I was speaking garbage, sanctions should exist. We should just identify a way to sanction, or a mayor for his municipality not giving the central budget money, because in A.B. We could introduce the role of civil society, of any organization, green, what their role will be. They just to take pictures where the garbage is somewhere, send to an address, that address would confirm that it's real, punish a municipality, or punish an owner of a land, or punish a company that did that, sanctions. So, bonuses, yes, if you do a good job, everywhere, sanctions if you do bad job. And that would go same in political level, in administration, everywhere. So the logic, introduce a logic that it's no pardon. That's the rule of law, actually.
Okay, I am A.U.K, and I would thank you for being here today. I have a question. I don't want to go in the scenario where you will be in the government, but we know it's a subject of debate in our society, who will be the next government. I want to ask you a question on what do you believe, when do you believe that there's going to be a government which will not include the government which is now, which does not include PDK as a partner, or only them being there?
We have what we deserve as society, always. When we wake up, if you are wake up as society, you know whom to vote, you would create a government that you would deserve. My role is to try to help myself and everybody in our society what's the best government. And I try to give an offer, and I do everything what is in my capacity. In the end of the day, I cannot give that answer. Citizens are going to give that answer. If they still want a ruling party, they're going to have it again. Or if the ruling party is voted to a level that others cannot create a government, they're going to have it again. So the answer is how people will vote. The day that people would vote different, they would have a different government. But it's not a decision to be taken by one of us. It's by majority of us. How are we going to vote next time? It's good that we are in democracy. We don't have to use other means. See the government. So there is elections, so vote the way that you believe.
I'm Ramush Haradinaj and I'm a senior student. I would like to relate my question to the elections, and I would like to ask whether how free are the citizens of Kosovo to choose their government?
Sorry?
How free are the citizens of Kosovo to choose their government?
May I ask you a sub-question? On relation to what? Do you mean quality of elections? Do you mean interferences? Do you mean...
Are the free vote?
Yeah, I understand the question. There was a concern, especially from last elections, are we going to be able to have free elections? So we are doing what we believe is good steps to come to free elections. in the end, again, it's going to depend on leaders, party leaders, how they're going to instruct their own party colleagues, or are they going to allow party colleagues to misbehave during elections? So I believe we have made some steps on the direction to a free elections. So citizens has an important role as well to stand for free elections. That means to identify, to inform any misdoing. So you're going to have a role even yourself that day. Everybody that votes is going to have a role that day. Media, civil society, and we hope as well partners. As now, Kosovo didn't arrive here alone. We are together. Our freedom is joint investment between Kosovo and nations that house us. I was speaking about Shan in old days, and not to go back to brief you on all, but you know yourself that freedom was not just our effort. We came together, building a state, building a democracy, building our lives, future. We hope to join the partners. So in elections, we hope to have their help as well as monitoring.
I'm Soran Berisha. I'm a second-year student here at A.U.K. I have a question regarding the dialogue with Serbia. Last week we had the Belgian Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he declared that from the dialogue there will be neither winners nor losers. Therefore, I would like to take your opinion regarding the results of the dialogue. What is going on with Serbia?
What I see is, I see a model of talks, not as the same that you are used before, when two parties would be there and an arbiter. And he would listen to both parties and he would say, this is the mid-position, let's say. No winner, no loser. You see, we went through this in the past. I know why the concern exists in our society, and I understand this. I think it's a little bit different. What they are doing is they are asking parties, both parties, to come to something that they agree. So now, if you wish to come to somewhere to agree, you're free. But there is no other way. There is no arbiter that says, no, you have to agree this because this is the middle ground. So we have a correct room to stay inside our constitution, inside our laws, and to be generous. So what we are looking is, as generous as we can, to answer needs of our communities, of local Serbs in North. But without going in or destroying the constitutional order and our system. So this is right. No losers, no winners. It's normal to use that language if you speak from that perspective, because it will make angry parties. If you say Kosovo going to win everything, they'll be nervous. If they win everything, we'll be not happy. So that language is, I think, even basic. And whenever they go, that's the language that they will use. But what I see from our point of view, there is no kind of a pressure or chantage or a strong request to bring you somewhere, or to bring us somewhere that would interfere in our constitutional order of the country, in our arrangements that ensures sovereignty, ensures territorial integrity in one system. So far is this. I don't know even today that I'm speaking there is something else. So when it's packed in the end, it's going to be interpreted different ways, but this is the reality.
Hello, Mr. Haradinaj, I'm Hanai. I would like to know what's your plan on recovering back the reputation of the political party represent. As we know, while we were not in Kosovo, there have been many decisions taken on individual basis without proper consultations within the party. So what's your view on that, and what's your plan on recovering back and having back the belief of people on your values and your people?
I think I can say one thing. I can always say thank you to A.U.K that they didn't contribute on lowering the bar of our democracy or the average democracy of the society. So thanks to A.U.K, democracy didn't go bad. I mean, we was with what's happened in our lives. I have difficulties to explain. Now it's our chance to improve our democracy, society democracy, through improving ourselves. And we are working at that. It's not easy, as you mentioned, time has passed, has gone, people has adopted some methods, some ideas that don't fit so nice to a good party democracy. Altogether we are working to improve that, and I believe we have done a lot just through internal elections that we had, but democracy is improving, I think, a process that goes forever. So I'm open to hear suggestions, to hear proposals that will help us to do better. One thing I know inside ourselves, with everything happened to us, as you know, I was absent twice for a long period, then even for a period of time, even being here, I couldn't do my job. I believe we survived the core of what a party in a democracy system is. We are responsible to a good point. I believe honesty is still part of our values as people. And what I would say is as well on plans for vision for what Kosovo should be, we are there. We have a lot to improve, but we are there. So now it's bringing together all. Thank you.
Knowing that you are one of the most prominent commanders of KLA, and knowing that these negotiations have to do with our internal issues which kind of violate the state of Kosovo, do you think that these negotiations are aligned with your oath, which was for unification of all Albanian territories, knowing that we're not working on that issue, but now we're working on some internal issues which can result in a possible division of Kosovo or autonomy for the northern part?
If you accept my answer, and it's going to be like this, and if you disagree, you will know why I'm not going in detail why you're asking what you're asking me. If I clean the garbage in Kosovo, everywhere, if in day one of governance, I will go everywhere around Kosovo, even in forest, when people don't live, around the rivers, picnicking where we go. Is it bad for Albanians everywhere they are in the world, including for our diaspora? I'm happy with that. If I started with garbage, because everywhere you go you will see that. Whoever comes to see us lose respect for us. And then not to say what we are doing to our own life, to the underground waters, to everything what's our life is, to food, that we say it's our best food, or best in the world, and organic and all, but it doesn't fit together. So I know there is different doctrines on what Albanians are, what they will be theoretically. I never go in that debate. What I know is I live in present. If I do something better where Albanians live, that's nothing against anybody. Neither of our neighbors, neither of any theory or doctrine for what Albanians should be. So I live in present, and I do what my task is today. Generations will do what their task is when they come. Thank you.
Sorry for keeping you so long in here, but you are an inspiring person, no matter your political background. I have one more question for you. Lately, you've been running door to door to sort of choose a political party for the next election, so you can do a coalition or whatever. You have managed to gather together in a table Mr. Paci and Mr. Kurti for those election reforms. And there is an issue or a discussion topic going on those talks. Are you for or are you against the minorities having their reserved seats in Parliament for next elections?
If you see me from where I'm here, I say we lost a lot of time, we lost a lot of opportunities. We are in emergency, I say. We are in crisis. So any society that has no running water, they could consider a crisis time. We buy energy and we sleep in ignite. So there is a list of 100 arguments why we should wake up. Everybody of us, not just politicians are losing respect in people. When you go in the streets, they say all are corrupted, all are blah, all are be send them to hell. This is the so, and I still try to do what's my task is, my job is. I didn't bring Koch and Kuri together. Believe they bring themselves. Why? Because in the end of the day, everybody feels responsible and they have their own to change what we do. On the next, with parties, with politicians, I think I can survive my vision. Doesn't matter with whom I am in the table. Doesn't matter what we discuss today. I have a vision, same as leaders have stated all times, they have a dream. So I have a vision to make Kosovo. So everybody's role, it's needed, everybody's contribution is accepted if you can bring it together for making Kosovo. So there is no problem for me on that. We work good with ethnic communities. I meet every day everybody. I meet local Serbs, not just politicians who talk, a deputy mayor, a mayor, a citizen. As I meet my fellow comrades of the past, today with whom I work, everybody. Why not? It's our country. I try to bring together. Do we give this reserve seat? Your question. I'm in favor of it. I know it's a disbalance. I know it's continuing generosity, probably not good. But remember one thing. It might be Serbs in the audience today, Kosovo are Serbs, and I would have same to say. It's easy to go out for some votes to say no reserve seat for Serbs. And I would win 2% more, probably 1%. What I'm doing is one other thing. I'm just at the stage that I'm trying to tell no Serbs, come in. Just the stage, just we are talking about that. If agreement is achieved, we have to go there to try to organize municipal elections, to integrate them, to bring in the parliament. So what we do then? Should we start immediately to tell the central Serbs, enough is enough? It was too much. We don't need you? No. But we have to act vision. People that has a vision will not fail. They will fail those that they see just that day. What they are doing. So I work based on a vision to have Kosovo, to make Kosovo of everybody. We are not in a position as Albanians ever anymore to be afraid, to be inferior, to have problems. Everybody lives here is Kosovo citizens. He will pay taxes, he will do his job, he will respect the rule of law, as everywhere else in the world. So this is one of the reasons. I never say this in public, I should be saying even today that much. We have interest of keeping positiveness in Central Serbs, keeping them committed, making them happy, while at the same time we would use this as model for integrating North Serbs. Is it that simple as this? Whoever speaks differently is missing to see that. You cannot force people to love you anymore in the 21st century. You have to have a compensation, you have to have something in hand, you have to have a card. Everybody's doing that. So this is our vision.
The international community has a large role from remittances coming in and foreign aid and everything else. A speaker a few weeks ago suggested that the international involvement here limited the democracy of Kosovo. Could you say something about what your thoughts are on that?
We would always be precise to evaluate the partner based on what I do. In fact, we are not in a common position to speak on guilt of anybody else. Kosovo is guilt for itself. We are guilt ourselves for where we are. And I will give you an example. At the time it was UN. It was an SRG, and there was embassies, and there was everybody that would do everything for us. One ambassador told me, you left me with no job. I say, I didn't understand. I say, why? They say, you're running your affairs. So from the job that I had to come to debate, to discuss, now I have once in a while to write a report. So the relations are always defined based on that. If we do good our job, it will diminish the role of anybody else. And then you would come in a position to pick partners for strategic reasons. While we do as we do, while the rule of law is at the level that it is, while we managed even to steal some money for our in a bill of our passports, first one, biometric ones, and we aspire for visa liberalization. There's a problem on a lot inside. Then normal internationals would tell us how bad we are, and we would tell them that they are wrong, and we would keep going. There are people, it was a debate, we don't need you there. Fine, do them your job. Diminish their job. Make them no job. That when governments look why they would be needed here. But just by saying it and by keep doing as we do, no. I think it's in our hands to diminish the role of the others in the country and come to strategic partners, whom we need as a partner, bilateral. But internationals was not so insistent to keep a role or to do our job. It's even human nature, as you know, people, they like their mandate, they like their incomes, but not everybody is hard work. So if we would do our job properly, even for that reason, it was enough room that we come fully in charge, everywhere and everything. And even not just after independence, even pre. Because UN, whatever we would be doing, they would accept. If we did it right, if we did it based on a standard that would be acceptable, that's it. So we are careful and speak on this for another reason. We still look for recognition. We have the final recognition, we have much more to do, and friendship from everybody, but in fact, we should be doing our job. Solution is do our job.
Okay, I think I see no more questions, so let me first thank you all for coming, and in particular for some very good questions. You made A.U.K. proud. Very good, serious questions. The Prime Minister told me ahead of time that he wanted to be as open, as transparent as possible. You tested him, and I think you both passed. Before thanking him formally, I'd also like to thank you informally for saying something that we here feel strongly about, and I hope you all heard it. Mr. Haradinaj noted that A.U.K. and its graduates are a national asset. That's why we're here. That's why people like Michael Washak, Brian Bowen, and the staff are working hard. That's why you students are all here. Perhaps being recognized for what you are, a national asset, will put a little bit more effort into work a little bit harder, because you count. And this man has recognized that. Thank you very much. I'd also basically like to thank you for coming and giving a good talk and opening up to our students your thoughts about where Kosovo needs to go. Thank you all. Please join me in thanking you.